Fellow Goblins, the Forever Winter March 2025 update is here, and it is by far the best update Fundog Studios has released in early access. I'll be going over the highlights of the changes and additions so you are up to date and maybe get the spark to come back and sink a few more hours into the title. Some of these include the Water System 3.0 update, a new map, gunplay changes, AI improvements, performance improvements, and changes to looting and detection UI. Let's begin. Now let's start with probably the biggest and most requested change from the community. We are now at the Water System 3.0. What does that mean? Water is now permanent. Yes, you heard that right. Water does not run out when you are not playing the game. It's now actually a currency that you spend to choose the different spawn points on a map. No longer, you still need faction reputation to unlock the spawn, but now you pay a certain amount of water, and it's very low. It's like under 5. I think the max I've seen is 4. There are 0 water cost entries to maps, so you are never barred from playing if you run out of water. If you do quit the game with 0 water, this will trigger the water thieves in your innards, so be prepared the next time you launch the game. You can now actually give water to squad mates in the innards by using the squad screen, so if you got a water tycoon of a friend with like 50 to 75 water, he can now actually gift you a certain amount of water, and you keep that in your innards to spend on getting into maps. Some other changes to the water system: thieves can actually follow your water bots back if you purchase that upgrade, so that is a randomized chance, and they did say in the future, eventually your actions on a map may trigger an innards invasion, but these actions will be high risk, high reward. I imagine if they add something to like Ashen Mesa and you kill a certain unit, or you wipe out a certain group, or you loot something, it may trigger a invasion back to the innards, where I don't know if it's going to be soldiers, is it going to be water thieves, we don't know, but I'm super excited for that. Next is gunplay changes. They've overhauled the recoil, dispersion, kick, swing. It's all renovated and retuned, and it feels pretty good. They feel better. There isn't a blinding muzzle flash when you're trying to gun people down, but it's still kind of messy, so you're not going to be going John Rambo on this. There's been other changes to ADS, changes to upgrades and mods for the weapons. And what's most interesting is Old Man has received animation changes for reloading particular weapons, and these updates will gradually roll out to the other characters. Next up on the list, we have changes to AI and looting, and this is a big one, so pay attention. AI should no longer spawn directly in front of you or on top of you, that kind of annoying case where you're just running along minding your own business and all of a sudden a squad of cyborgs spawns in front of you and start gunning you down, or you got a 180 out of there. No longer, or at least it shouldn't happen. Detection has been altered and streamlined within the UI, stealth is now more of a viable option, and the icons above soldiers' heads have been tuned to be more reliable. Now, within the system, question marks are investigating or becoming somewhat aware of you, exclamation points mean they know you are there, but are not actively targeting you or engaging you as part of the threat system, and the diamond eye or eye icon means they're coming to steal your lunch money. Looting, this is huge. They put in probably my most requested feature. You now have a white bracket or like a square showing which backpack or item on the ground you are targeting for looting. There's no more guessing or pointing your gun and ADS directly at a backpack to up the chances of rifling through it, but there is now a second or so long circle to fill by holding down the loot button. I think this is to theoretically slow down the looting, but to me it's barely noticeable, but it actually did trigger the part of my brain where I'm thinking, okay, like there's going to be some added time to looting this pile that I just created, so I got to be aware of enemy squads around me. Another big change, I wasn't expecting this, but we have a new map. Yes, that is correct. Stairway to Heaven. It is quite literally what it says on the tin. Stairway to Heaven is a linear map where you climb the 7,000 steps to High Hrothgar. all while facing groups of enemies and even a stalker. The map's pretty cool since it's basically a long linear box, and it takes some creative and patient thinking to get around groups of enemies. I've only run it a couple times, and I noticed there wasn't too much loose loot. It was mostly centralized in the kind of makeshift outpost that enemy squads were spawning at, so it kind of rewarded you for getting around them, allowing them to engage another squad and walk away, and then you quickly run in and just loot everything. Last but not least, performance increases. This one is interesting. I didn't feel like my FPS skyrocketed, and I already get about 100 to 130 FPS on most maps, but the game just feels smoother. Like, I can actually feel my game being at 120 FPS and not being jittery or slow. There are still instances of FPS dips and stutters, but overall the patch makes the game feel much better than it did before. That's pretty much it. There's definitely a couple little bit more goodies in here that I didn't go over, but I don't think it's worth highlighting just because I want to give you the most pertinent information for you to get excited to get back into Forever Winter and sink a couple few more hours into it. Overall, I am loving this update. I was actually excited to get back on the next day and experience more of the changes and go through the maps and see how the game feels. With the gunplay changes and the looting changes, it definitely feels like we're on the right track. Fundog Studios is absolutely cooking, and I can't wait to see how this game evolves within the next year. Let me know if you're going to be coming back to Forever Winter or what your favorite part of the update is down below. And as always, I'm OddsTV, and I will see you in the next one.